Zara stood at the viewport of the Galactic transport ship, her four purple arms crossed as she watched Earth grow larger in the distance. The blue and green planet looked small compared to her homeworld of Zolonia, but it held something her world did not: humans. Humans who married for love, not just for business reasons. Her silver eyes blinked slowly as she thought about what waited for her on Earth. Her family would be furious when they discovered what she planned. As the daughter of one of Zolonia's wealthiest trading families, she was expected to marry another wealthy merchant and combine their resources. That was the Zolonian way: cold, practical, and utterly boring to Zara. She had been secretly watching human broadcasts for years. Their stories of romance and passion seemed so different from the arranged marriages of her people. Humans showed their feelings openly, something Zolonians considered weak and unnecessary, but Zara found it fascinating. When the Galactic Council finally opened immigration between Earth and Zolonia 3 months ago, Zara had made her decision quickly. She packed what she needed, converted a small fortune into universal credits, and booked passage on the first available ship to Earth without telling her family where she was going. The ship landed with a soft thud at New Denver Spaceport. Zara felt the stronger gravity of Earth immediately as she stepped off the ramp. Her muscles strained slightly, making her movements slower than usual. The air felt thick in her lungs, filled with scents she had never experienced before, some pleasant, some less so. "Welcome to Earth, citizen Zara," a human immigration officer said, stamping her documents. "Your temporary residence in the interspecies district has been approved for 6 months. After that, you'll need to apply for an extension or permanent residency." "Thank you," Zara replied, careful to speak slowly. Her translator implant helped her understand humans perfectly, but speaking their language still required concentration. The interspecies district of New Denver was where most non-humans lived when they first arrived on Earth. It was designed to accommodate various alien biologies with adjustable gravity settings in apartments, specialized food dispensers, and medical facilities equipped to handle different species. Zara's new apartment was small but functional. The gravity could be lowered slightly to match her preference. The bed was designed for her taller frame and multiple limbs. The air could be adjusted to be drier, more like Zolonia. It wasn't home, but it would do. After settling in, she began her research. Dating apps existed for aliens and humans who were interested in interspecies relationships, but Zara quickly discovered that most humans who sought alien partners were looking for novelty, not commitment. She needed a different approach. After studying human customs more deeply, she learned about their history of arranged marriages, where families would select partners for practical reasons. This was something she understood well, and it gave her an idea. She would offer a business proposition to a human male. Zara had wealth, status, and connections in galactic trading markets. What she needed was someone who could teach her human customs, help her navigate Earth society, and perhaps fill the loneliness she felt, but would never admit to her family. She created an advertisement offering a substantial monthly payment, premium living quarters, and access to advanced alien technology in exchange for marriage to a human male who would act as her guide to Earth culture. She was careful to make it clear this was a business arrangement, but hoped secretly that maybe something more could develop. Sam Johnson stared at his bank account balance on his phone and tried not to panic. The number was lower than it had been yesterday, and yesterday it had been too low already. His engineering degree had left him with massive debt, and the job market was terrible. AI systems had taken most entry-level positions, leaving new graduates like him struggling to find work. His small apartment in the older part of New Denver was barely affordable. The rent would be due again soon, and his diet had consisted mostly of ramen noodles for weeks. He scrolled through job listings without much hope. Then an unusual advertisement caught his eye. Human partner sought for marriage arrangement with Zolonian citizen. Generous compensation package including housing and technology access. Business arrangement with defined terms. Experience with interspecies relations not required but cultural sensitivity essential. Sam had never considered anything like this before. He had seen aliens around the city since immigration opened up, but he had never spoken to one. The compensation mentioned in the ad would solve his financial problems, but marriage to an alien? It seemed crazy. Still, desperation made him curious enough to respond and schedule a meeting. The cafe where they agreed to meet was in the Interspecies District, a neutral location where both humans and aliens could feel comfortable. Sam arrived early, nervously checking his worn jacket and running a hand through his brown hair. He had no idea what to expect. When Zara entered the cafe, Sam was stunned. She was tall, almost 7 feet, with smooth purple skin that seemed to shimmer under the cafe lights. Her forearms moved with graceful precision, and her silver eyes took in everything with keen intelligence. She wore human-style clothing but modified for her physique, a business suit that looked expensive yet comfortable. "You must be Sam Johnson," Zara said, her voice slightly mechanical through her translator. "I am Zara of House Vexler, Zalonia. Thank you for responding to my proposal." Their first meeting was awkward. Sam stared too much. Zara spoke too formally. They both realized they knew very little about each other's species beyond stereotypes. But there was something about Sam, his kindness perhaps, or his genuine questions about her culture, that made Zara think he might be suitable. And Sam found himself fascinated by Zara, not just her alien appearance but her determined intelligence. "So you're serious about this?" Sam asked after Zara explained her proposal in detail. "You want to marry a human just to learn about Earth culture?" "Not just for that reason," Zara replied. "On my world, marriage is a business arrangement. Families join resources for mutual benefit. I am offering a similar arrangement, but on my own terms. You need financial support. I need cultural guidance. It is practical for both of us. And what happens when you've learned enough about humans? When you don't need a guide anymore?" Sam asked. "The contract would be for 2 Earth years initially, with options to extend or dissolve the arrangement at that time," Zara explained. "All terms would be clearly defined, including financial provisions if the arrangement ends." Sam thought about his student loans, his empty bank account, and his failed job searches. "I'd need time to think about it," he said finally. "Of course," Zara replied. "This is not a decision to make hastily." They met several more times over the next 2 weeks. Each meeting was less awkward than the last. Sam asked detailed questions about the arrangement, the expectations, and about Zalonian culture. Zara answered honestly and asked her own questions about Earth customs and human relationships. By their 5th meeting, Sam had made his decision. His financial situation had only gotten worse, and he had grown to enjoy Zara's company. Her alien perspective made him think about his own culture in new ways. "I'll do it," he told her over coffee. "I'll marry you under the terms we discussed." Zara's silver eyes widened slightly, her version of a smile. "You have made a practical choice, Sam Johnson. I believe this arrangement will benefit us both." They signed the contract that day. It detailed everything from the monthly payments Sam would receive to the cultural experiences Zara expected him to provide. It outlined living arrangements, personal space requirements, and even how they would present their relationship to others. 2 days later, they moved into a new apartment in a better part of the city. It had been modified for Zara's biology, but was comfortable for Sam too. The rent was more than Sam had ever been able to afford before, but Zara paid it easily from her family funds. As Sam unpacked his few belongings, he wondered what he had gotten himself into. Marriage to an alien had never been part of his life plan, but as he watched Zara efficiently organizing her possessions with her 4 arms, he couldn't help but smile. At least life wouldn't be boring anymore. And Zara, though she kept her feelings hidden as all Zalonians did, felt a small spark of excitement. Her new life on Earth had officially begun, and with it her secret hope that she might experience the kind of connection she had only seen in human stories. Not that she would admit such an emotional desire even to herself. After all, this was just a business arrangement. Nothing more. The first week of living together was full of surprises for both Sam and Zara. Sam discovered that Zalonians slept hanging upside down. When he woke up the first morning and walked into the living room to find Zara suspended from the ceiling by her lower limbs, he nearly had a heart attack. "Is that normal?" he asked after his pulse returned to normal. "For Zalonians, yes," Zara replied, gracefully lowering herself to the floor. "Our circulation works differently than yours. Sleeping inverted helps our brain function optimally." Sam learned that Zalonians only needed 4 hours of sleep, which explained why Zara was always awake before him and still working on her data pad when he went to bed. He learned that her purple skin required daily moisturizing with a special oil that smelled like lavender. mixed with something metallic. He learned that she could see slightly into the ultraviolet spectrum, which made human art fascinating to her in ways he couldn't understand. Zara was equally fascinated by human habits. She watched in amazement as Sam consumed hot coffee every morning. "The temperature would burn my mouth tissues," she observed. "Is the pain worth the stimulant effect?" "It doesn't hurt if you're used to it," Sam explained. And yes, the caffeine is definitely worth it. They had their challenges. The apartment was cold for Sam, but still too warm for Zara. They compromised by keeping the common areas cooler and Sam's bedroom warmer. Sam was naturally messy, while Zara was meticulously organized. Sam cooked with spices that made Zara's sensitive nose burn, so they established a schedule for when he could make his favorite foods. As part of their arrangement, Sam began teaching Zara about human culture. They started with the basics: common customs, social norms, and everyday interactions. Zara was a quick study, asking insightful questions that sometimes made Sam think about his own culture in new ways. Why do humans ask how are you when they don't actually want detailed information about the other person's state? Zara asked one day after they returned from grocery shopping. "It's just a greeting," Sam explained. "It shows you acknowledge the other person, but it's inefficient. You exchange false inquiries instead of just stating your purpose." "Not everything has to be efficient," Sam said with a smile. "Sometimes the ritual is the point." Zara considered this. "Interesting. Zolonians value efficiency above most other considerations. Perhaps this is why we don't understand human art forms well." Sam began introducing Zara to human entertainment. They watched classic movies together, listened to music from different eras, and read books that Sam thought captured something essential about humanity. Zara absorbed everything eagerly, making notes and asking questions that made Sam laugh sometimes. During a viewing of The Princess Bride, Zara paused the movie repeatedly. "This is classified as a romance, correct?" she asked. "Romance, adventure, comedy. It's a bit of everything," Sam replied. "But the central relationship is built on the phrase 'as you wish.' The farm boy never expresses his feelings directly." "That's part of the charm," Sam explained. "Sometimes humans communicate feelings indirectly. How do you know what someone truly means if they don't say it clearly?" Sam thought about this. Body language, tone of voice, context, and sometimes you just know. Zara looked skeptical. "This seems needlessly complicated." "Welcome to humanity," Sam said with a laugh. In return for these cultural lessons, Zara taught Sam about galactic politics, Zolonian customs, and the advanced technology she had brought with her. She showed him how her personal shield worked, a thin force field that could protect against harmful radiation or minor impacts. She explained the basics of faster-than-light travel, and why certain alien species couldn't use it because of their unique biology. Sam was a quick learner, adapting to her cultural needs with surprising sensitivity. He stopped offering to shake hands when he learned that Zolonians considered hand-to-hand contact intimate. He memorized the formal greetings for different social situations. He even attempted to learn a few phrases in her native language, though his human vocal cords couldn't quite manage some of the sounds. 3 weeks into their arrangement, Sam invited a few of his friends over for dinner. He had been avoiding this, unsure how they would react to his unusual marriage. But Zara had been curious about human social interactions, and this seemed like a good opportunity. "Just be yourself," Sam advised before they arrived. Then he paused. "Well, maybe don't mention that this is a business arrangement. Let's just say we met when you first arrived on Earth." "You want me to lie?" Zara asked, her silver eyes narrowing slightly. "Not lie exactly, just simplify." Sam ran a hand through his hair. "Most humans marry for love, or at least attraction. They might not understand our arrangement." "I see," Zara said. "This is one of those social complexities you mentioned." Sam's friends, Kelsey, Jason, and Maria, arrived bearing wine and curious expressions. They had heard Sam had married an alien but hadn't met Zara yet. The dinner was awkward at first. Kelsey stared openly at Zara's forearms. Jason asked inappropriate questions about Zolonian biology until Maria elbowed him in the ribs. But as the evening progressed and the wine flowed, the atmosphere relaxed. Zara proved surprisingly adept at social interaction once she got past the initial formality. She told amusing stories about her first impressions of Earth, her confusion about human sayings, and her observations about the differences between their species. By the end of the night, Maria was teaching Zara a simple card game, and even Kelsey had stopped staring. After they left, Sam cleaned up while Zara processed the evening. Your friends were initially uncomfortable with me, she observed. But that changed. Why? They just needed time to see you as a person, not just an alien, Sam explained. People fear what they don't understand. Is that why some humans and aliens avoid the interspecies district? Fear? For some, probably. Others are just set in their ways. Change is hard. Zara was quiet for a moment. On Zolonia, change is viewed as inevitable but to be controlled carefully. Rapid change brings instability. Earth has a saying too, the only constant is change. Zara considered this. An interesting perspective. Perhaps not entirely wrong. A month into their arrangement, they received a message that changed everything. Zara's family had discovered where she was and what she had done. They were not pleased. The holographic message from her father filled their living room with his imposing presence. Nearly 8 feet tall with dark purple skin and cold silver eyes, Krell Vexilor looked even more intimidating than Zara had described. Daughter, he began, his voice deep and controlled. Your actions bring confusion to our house. You left without proper notification, taking significant resources. Now we learn you have entered a union with a human without family approval. Explain yourself. Zara stood straighter, all forearms positioned in a formal stance. Father, I have acted within my rights as an adult citizen. The Galactic Council permits interspecies marriage, and I have not accessed more resources than my personal allowance. Legal permission does not equal wisdom, her father replied. What do you know of this human? What does his family bring to our house? Sam, standing awkwardly to the side, felt his face flush. The way Krell said human made it sound like pet or servant. Sam Johnson is an engineer with valuable insights into human culture, Zara said. Our union is beneficial. We will evaluate this claim ourselves, Krell announced. Your mother and I will arrive on Earth in 30 days. Prepare to receive us appropriately. The message ended abruptly, his holographic form dissolving into nothing. Zara stood motionless for several long moments before turning to Sam. This is problematic. Your parents are coming here? To meet me? Sam's voice cracked slightly. Do they always talk like that? Like what? Like they're dictating terms to an employee? Zara tilted her head. This was a relatively warm conversation by Zolonian standards. My father used my name rather than my citizen designation. Sam ran his hands through his hair. Great. So when they actually get here and see our setup, they'll be even less thrilled. They will expect evidence that our union benefits House Vexler, Zara explained. We have 30 days to prepare a convincing case. Sam paced the living room. And if they're not convinced? They could petition to have me declared incompetent in financial matters and restrict my access to family resources. They might also try to invalidate our marriage under Zolonian law. Can they do that? I thought the Galactic Council. The Council recognizes marriages across species, yes, but family law is complex and my family has significant influence. Zara's voice remained calm, but Sam had learned to recognize the slight tension in her upper arms that indicated stress. They won't physically force me to return to Zolonia, but they could make our situation difficult. Sam stopped pacing and faced her. Then we'll just have to convince them that this marriage is the real deal. How do you propose we do that? Zara asked. We've got 30 days to become the perfect cross-species couple, Sam said with more confidence than he felt. How hard can it be? The day of the Vexlor family arrival came too quickly. Sam woke early, his stomach tight with nerves. He found Zara already awake as usual, reviewing data on her pad at the kitchen table. Did you sleep at all? He asked, pouring himself coffee. 2 hours, sufficient for Zolonian physiology. She looked up from her pad. The diplomatic shuttle carrying my parents will land at 1400 hours local time. That gives us 6 hours to get ready. Sam sipped his coffee and tried to remember all the Zolonian customs they had practiced. Run me through the greeting ritual one more time? Zara patiently demonstrated the formal Zolonian greeting, a specific position of the arms with the upper pair extended and the lower pair folded, combined with a slight tilt of the head. And I should address your father as Elder Vexler and your mother as Matron Vexler, right? Correct. Do not attempt to touch them. Do not speak until spoken to, and remember to keep your eyes slightly lowered when they first address you. Direct eye contact is considered challenging. To authority in formal situations. Sam practiced the greeting several more times until Zara approved his form. They had already prepared their apartment for the visit, adjusting the environmental controls to Zolonian preferences and setting up the guest room with a special hanging apparatus for sleeping. They had also moved Sam's belongings into Zara's room, creating the appearance that they shared the space. Sam had been sleeping on a cot that they could easily store in the closet during the day. It wasn't comfortable, but it maintained their pretense. At precisely 2 p.m., the doorbell chimed. Sam took a deep breath and nodded to Zara, who opened the door to reveal her parents. Krell Vexler was even more imposing in person than in hologram. He towered over Sam, standing at least 9 feet tall with deep purple skin that bordered on black. His silver eyes were cold and analytical. Beside him stood Vela Vexilor, equally tall but more slender, with lighter purple skin and elaborate jewelry that seemed to float around her forearms. Zara performed the formal greeting, which her parents acknowledged with minimal arm movements. Sam carefully executed the greeting he had practiced, keeping his eyes appropriately lowered. "The human attempts are customs," Krell observed, his translator giving his voice a metallic edge. "Interesting. Sam has been studying Zolonian culture," Zara replied. "He understands the importance of proper respect." "Enter our home," Sam said, using the formal Zolonian phrase Zara had taught him. "May you find it suitable for your comfort." Vela's silver eyes narrowed slightly, a Zolonian expression of surprise or interest. "He speaks some of our language as well. Only a few phrases," Sam admitted. "I'm still learning." The Vexlers entered the apartment and immediately began examining everything with critical eyes. Sam felt like they were cataloging every flaw, every deviation from Zolonian standards. "Your environmental settings are warmer than optimal," Krell noted. "A concession to human physiology, I assume?" "A compromise," Zara corrected. "Sam tolerates cooler temperatures than most humans, and I adapt to slightly warmer conditions than most Zolonians. We find a middle ground." "Compromise," Krell repeated as if tasting a strange food. "A very human concept. Yet one that has served our species well in galactic relations," Vela observed. Her tone was neutral, but Sam thought he detected a slight rebuke to her husband. They moved to the living area, where Sam and Zara had prepared traditional Zolonian refreshments, a cold, slightly bitter tea served in special double-handled cups that accommodated Zolonian hands. "Tell us, human," Krell said after taking a ceremonial first sip, "what do you contribute to our daughter's life that justifies this unusual union?" Sam had prepared for this question. "I offer cultural guidance on Earth, connections within human society, and engineering knowledge that complements Zara's business expertise. We're currently developing a project that combines my sustainable energy designs with Zolonian technology." This wasn't entirely false. Sam had been working on clean energy designs in his free time, and Zara had shown interest in how they might be adapted using advanced Zolonian materials. "An unproven venture," Krell dismissed. "House Vexler does not need minor human technology." "With respect, Elder Vexler," Sam replied carefully, "Earth is new to galactic markets. Being among the first to develop hybrid technologies could position House Vexler advantageously as Earth becomes more integrated into the galactic community." Vela tilted her head slightly. "The human makes a valid point, husband. Preliminary market analyses suggest Earth will become a significant trade partner within a decade." "Perhaps," Krell conceded reluctantly. "But business interests do not explain a marriage. Such partnerships could be formed without such drastic measures." "I believe our daughter has not shared all her reasoning," Vela said, her silver eyes fixed on Zara. "There is more to this decision than economic strategy." Sam felt the tension in the room increase. This was the moment they had prepared for, explaining the personal connection between them that would justify their marriage beyond practical considerations. Zara set down her teacup with precise movements. "As you know, I have always been interested in cultural exchange. My studies at the Academy included comparative galactic societies. Humans approach relationships differently than Zolonians, valuing emotional connection alongside practical considerations. I find this approach fascinating, educational." "So this is a research project?" Krell asked sharply. "You experiment with alien mating customs at the expense of your family's standing?" "No," Zara said firmly. "It began perhaps as curiosity, but it has become more. Sam has qualities I value beyond his practical utility. His perspective challenges me. His adaptability impresses me. His company is preferred. Sam was surprised by the emotion in Zara's voice. They had practiced this explanation, but her delivery now seemed more genuine than during their rehearsals. "And you, human?" Vela asked, turning her silver gaze to Sam. "What draws you to our daughter beyond the obvious financial advantages?" Sam looked at Zara, and to his surprise found the answer came easily. "Zara is the most intelligent person I've ever met. She sees the world differently than I do, and that makes me see it differently too. She's honest, determined, and surprisingly funny once you get to know her. Being with her makes me want to be better, smarter, more disciplined, more thoughtful." The room fell silent. Sam realized he'd spoken more from the heart than from their script, but the words had felt right. Krell and Vela exchanged a look that Sam couldn't interpret. Then Vela spoke. "You will show us the sleeping chamber you share." Sam's heart rate spiked. They had prepared for this, arranging the bedroom to look like they both used it, but it still felt invasive. "Of course," Zara replied, rising smoothly. "This way." The bedroom inspection was brief but thorough. Vela noted the mixed clothing in the closet, the two sides of the bed with different firmness settings, and the modified sleeping apparatus that allowed Zara to sleep partially inverted, while Sam used a more human arrangement. "Ingenious solution for physiological differences," Vela commented. "Sam designed it," Zara said with a note of pride that wasn't rehearsed. "His engineering skills are quite practical." The evening continued with a formal dinner that Sam had prepared under Zara's guidance, simple Zilonian dishes that he had practiced making over the past weeks. The conversation remained stiff, with Krell asking pointed questions about Sam's background, education, and prospects. "And your family human?" Krell asked as they finished the meal. "What do they contribute to this alliance?" Sam tensed. They had prepared for this question, but it still stung. "My parents died 5 years ago. I have no siblings. My extended family is small and not close. So you bring no family connections," Krell observed. "A significant disadvantage in Zilonian society. In human society, individuals are judged more on their own merits than their family connections," Zara interjected. "Sam has earned respect through his own achievements." "A curious approach," Vela said, "though perhaps it explains humans' rapid technological progress despite their shorter lifespans. Less constrained by tradition, after dinner, as they sat in the living room for a final round of ceremonial tea, Krell finally addressed the purpose of their visit directly. "Daughter, we have observed your situation. While this union remains unusual, we acknowledge that you are an adult citizen with the right to make your own decisions. We will not interfere with your chosen path." Sam felt a wave of relief wash over him. They had done it, convinced Zara's parents to accept their marriage. "However," Krell continued, "the family resources allocated to you will be restricted to personal use only. Any business ventures involving the human must be approved by the family council before receiving Vexillor funding." "That is fair," Zara replied formally, though Sam could see the slight tension in her upper arms. "I accept these terms." "We will depart tomorrow," Vela announced. "Our diplomatic schedule requires our presence in the human capital city for trade negotiations." After the Vexillors retired to the guest room, Sam and Zara remained in the living room, both processing what had just happened. "We did it," Sam whispered finally. "They believe us." Operation Perfect Couple began the next morning. Sam and Zara sat at their kitchen table with cups of their preferred morning beverages. Hot coffee for him, cold mineral water with electrolytes for her, and made a plan. "First, we need to learn everything about each other," Sam said, "the kind of stuff real couples would know." "Such as?" Zara asked, her silver eyes focused intently on him. "Favorite foods, childhood memories, embarrassing stories, hopes and dreams. That kind of thing." Zara nodded slowly. "I see. Personal data exchange to create the appearance of intimacy." Sam sighed. "When you say it like that, it sounds cold. Real couples share these things because they care about each other." "I understand the concept in theory," Zara replied. "Zilonians also share information with mates, but it tends to be practical. Financial status, health data, family connections. Well, we'll need both types of information. Your parents will expect the practical stuff, but if we're going to convince them this is real, we'll need the personal stuff too." They spent the day exchanging information. Sam learned that Zara was the equivalent of 28 Earth years old. had studied galactic economics at the prestigious Academy of Zelonia, and had once been promised to the son of another wealthy family before she broke the arrangement by leaving for Earth. She was allergic to Earth strawberries, which made her skin itch, and she secretly enjoyed human music despite its chaotic patterns. Zara learned that Sam was 25, had grown up in a small town before moving to New Denver for college, and had lost his parents in a transport accident when he was 20. His engineering degree had specialized in sustainable energy systems, but he had been unable to find work in his field due to automation. He was allergic to cats, loved spicy food, and played guitar badly but enthusiastically. "We should also practice being physically comfortable with each other," Sam suggested after they'd covered the basics. "Human couples touch a lot, holding hands, hugging, that sort of thing. Zelonians are less demonstrative in public," Zara said, looking uncomfortable. "But I have observed that human couples do engage in frequent physical contact." "We don't have to go overboard," Sam assured her. "Just enough to seem natural. Is it okay if I touch your arm?" Zara nodded, and Sam gently placed his hand on her upper right arm. Her purple skin was smoother than human skin, with a slight sheen like polished marble but warm and yielding to the touch. "Your skin temperature is higher than I expected," Zara observed. "Is that bad?" "No, just different. Zelonian body temperature is generally lower than human normal range. They practiced small touches throughout the day, a hand on a shoulder, sitting close together on the couch, even a brief, awkward hug. Each time it got a little less strange, a little more natural. The next phase of their plan involved creating a believable shared history. They selected photos from the time they had already spent together and crafted stories around them to suggest a developing relationship rather than a business arrangement. "This one from the botanical gardens can be our third date," Sam suggested, pointing to a picture of them standing beside a massive earth fern. "You were fascinated by earth plants, and I was trying to impress you with my limited knowledge of botany." "I was genuinely interested in the adaptations of earth flora," Zara said. "Perfect." "That's not even a lie. They created a digital album with these photos and practiced telling their revised history until it felt almost real." According to their story, they had met shortly after Zara arrived on Earth, drawn together by mutual curiosity about each other's cultures. Sam had been giving Zelonian language lessons to earn extra money, and Zara had been his student. Romance had blossomed quickly, leading to their somewhat hasty marriage. "Is it believable that we would form a romantic attachment so quickly?" Zara asked, reviewing their timeline. "Humans sometimes have whirlwind romances," Sam assured her. "Especially when there's a strong connection. We can say we just knew it was right. Zelonians would consider that highly illogical. Then we'll emphasize the practical aspects for your parents, how my engineering knowledge complements your business background, how your connections can help my career. We'll frame it as a marriage of both emotion and practicality." As the days passed, they worked on other aspects of their pretense. Sam learned the formal greetings and body language of Zelonian culture. Zara practiced human social customs that would be expected of a wife, though Sam was careful to emphasize that modern human marriages were partnerships of equals. "You don't need to serve me or defer to me," he explained when Zara asked about wifely duties. "Just treat me like you would a respected colleague who you also happen to like personally." They also needed to address the physical differences between their species. Zara was nearly 2 feet taller than Sam, had 4 arms instead of 2, and her legs bent slightly differently, giving her a distinctive gait. These differences couldn't be hidden, so they decided to embrace them. "We'll say that's part of what attracted us to each other," Sam suggested. "Humans often find the exotic appealing, and you could say you admire human adaptability or something." "That is actually true," Zara admitted. "Your species has remarkable adaptive capabilities, both biologically and culturally. It's one reason Zelonians agreed to open relations with Earth, despite some concerns about human unpredictability." 2 weeks before her parents' arrival, they decided to test their couple act in public. They went to dinner at a nice restaurant in the center of the city, an area where both humans and aliens frequented, but where interspecies couples were still uncommon enough to draw looks. Sam wore his best suit, the only suit he owned, actually, and Zara wore a human-style dress modified for her 4 arms and taller frame. The maitre d' raised an eyebrow when they requested a table but led them to a corner where they would be less visible. "Charming," Sam muttered as they sat down. "You are displeased with our seating location?" Zara asked. "He put us in the corner so other diners wouldn't have to look at us," Sam explained, trying to keep the anger from his voice. "It happens sometimes with mixed couples." Zara observed the restaurant layout. "Actually, this location has tactical advantages. Good sightlines to all exits, minimal exposure to potential threats." Sam couldn't help but laugh. "Always the pragmatist. Is that bad?"
"No, it's actually one of the things I like about you."
"You see things differently than I do." The waiter approached, looking slightly nervous. "Good evening. Can I get you something to drink? We have some non-terrestrial options if the lady prefers." "I would like to try a human beverage," Zara said before Sam could respond. "My husband recommends the white wine from California." Sam felt a small jolt at hearing Zara call him "my husband" so naturally. "The Chardonnay would be perfect," he agreed. Throughout the meal, they practiced their couple behaviors, sharing food, leaning in to speak quietly, occasionally touching hands on the table. By dessert, Sam noticed the waiter had relaxed and even some of the other diners had stopped staring. "I believe our performance is convincing," Zara said quietly, as they waited for the check. "The humans around us now display less tension in their facial muscles when observing us." "I noticed that too," Sam replied. "Though you might want to phrase it differently. Maybe people seem more accepting of us now sounds more natural than analyzing their facial muscles." Noted. Social communication patterns remain challenging. On the walk home, Sam tentatively reached for one of Zara's hands. She allowed the contact, her long purple fingers intertwining with his. It felt strange but not unpleasant. "Is this acceptable?" Sam asked. "I know Zalonians consider hand contact intimate." "It is unusual," Zara admitted, "but not unpleasant, and necessary for our pretense." They walked in silence for a while, hand in hand under the city lights. Sam found himself thinking that if anyone saw them now, they would definitely believe they were a real couple. The thought was both comforting and unsettling. "Sam," Zara said suddenly, interrupting his thoughts, "there is something we have not discussed regarding my parents' visit." "What's that?" "Sleeping arrangements. My parents will expect us to share sleeping quarters as mates typically do." Sam stumbled slightly. "Oh, I hadn't thought about that." "We have two options," Zara continued practically. "We can admit the true nature of our arrangement, or we can share a sleeping space during their visit. If we admit the truth, what happens? As I explained before, they could restrict my finances or attempt to invalidate our marriage. Neither outcome is desirable." They had reached their apartment building. Sam stopped walking and turned to face Zara, still holding her hand. "Then we share a room," he said decisively. "We've come this far with the plan. No point stopping now, you are certain?" Humans often have strong feelings about personal space and sleeping arrangements. "I'm sure we can make it work," Sam said with more confidence than he felt. "After all, we've figured everything else out so far." As they entered the elevator to their apartment, Sam couldn't help wondering what other challenges awaited them. Pretending to be in love with an alien was turning out to be much more complicated than he had anticipated when he signed that contract 2 months ago. 2 months after the Vexilor visit, Sam sat at his workstation in the small office space they had set up in their apartment. His energy converter prototype was finally taking shape, a blend of his Earth engineering and the advanced Zalonian materials Zara had helped him acquire. "I think it's going to work," he murmured, running another simulation on his computer. The results showed a 78% efficiency rating, far better than current Earth technology. "If these numbers hold up in real-world testing, they likely will," Zara said from the doorway. She had been watching him work without him noticing. "Zalonian conductive materials have been refined over centuries." Sam looked up with a grin. "With this efficiency rating, we could revolutionize portable power sources on Earth. Clean energy that lasts 10 times longer than current batteries." "A worthwhile achievement," Zara agreed, entering the room and examining his designs with her silver eyes. "Have you considered the market applications?" "That's more your department than mine," Sam admitted. "I'm just trying to make it work. I have prepared some preliminary market analyses." Zara placed her data pad on his desk. Earth's energy sector is fragmented but growing rapidly. With proper patent protection and strategic partnerships, this technology could be quite valuable. Sam scrolled through her analysis, impressed as always by her business acumen. "This is amazing, Zara. You've thought of angles I never would have considered." "We make an effective team," she said simply, and they did. In the months since their marriage, they had settled into a rhythm that worked surprisingly well. The pretense they had constructed for her parents had somehow become a comfortable reality. They still maintained separate sleeping arrangements. Sam had upgraded from the closet cot to the second bedroom after her parents left. But in most other ways, they functioned as partners. Sam had finally found work with a small engineering firm, thanks in part to Zara's connections with the Alien Liaison Office that had recommended him. The job wasn't his dream position, but it paid the bills and gave him access to equipment he could use for their side project. Zara had established herself as a cultural consultant for businesses wanting to trade with Xylonians, using her understanding of both societies to bridge communication gaps. Her family had maintained their restrictions on her finances, but her own earnings were sufficient for her needs. "I need to go out for a few hours," Zara said, interrupting Sam's thoughts. "There's a new group of Xylonian merchants arriving today, and the Commerce Department has asked me to help with orientation." "No problem," Sam replied. "I'm meeting Jason and Maria for drinks later anyway." Zara nodded and left the room, her movements as precise and graceful as always. Sam watched her go, struck by the realization that he had grown accustomed to her alien presence in his life. The forearms that had once seemed so strange now just seemed like Zara. Later that evening, Sam sat with his friends at their favorite bar. It had become a regular thing, these gatherings, and Zara sometimes joined them. Tonight, though, it was just the original group. "So how's married life treating you?" Jason asked, pushing a beer toward Sam. "Still honeymoon phase?" Sam laughed. "It's good. Different, but good." "I still can't believe you married an alien," Kelsey said, shaking her head. "And a Xylonian of all species. They're so formal." "Zara's different when you get to know her," Sam defended. "She has a whole other side that most people don't see." Maria gave him a knowing look. "You've got it bad, don't you?" "What do you mean?" "You're totally in love with her," Maria stated matter-of-factly. "The way you talk about her, the way you look when someone mentions her name." Classic symptoms. Sam nearly choked on his beer. "That's ridiculous." "Zara and I are—" "It's complicated. Love usually is," Maria replied with a shrug. Sam changed the subject quickly, but Maria's words stayed with him throughout the evening. Was she right? Had he actually fallen in love with Zara? The idea seemed absurd. They were from different planets, different species. Their marriage was a practical arrangement that happened to work well for both of them. But as he walked home later, slightly buzzed from the beer, he couldn't deny that something had changed over the past months. He looked forward to seeing Zara each day. He missed her when she was gone. He found her alien perspective fascinating rather than strange. He enjoyed making her almost smile. That slight widening of her silver eyes that was the Xylonian equivalent of happiness. That's not love, he told himself firmly. That's just friendship, partnership. When he arrived home, the apartment was dark. Zara must still be out with the merchant delegation. Sam checked his phone and saw a message from her saying she would be late. He found himself disappointed, which only added to his confusion. He tried to distract himself by working on the energy converter designs, but his concentration was shot. Maria's words kept repeating in his head. "You're totally in love with her." Around midnight, he heard the apartment door open. Zara entered, looking tired but composed as always. "Successful orientation?" Sam asked, trying to sound casual. "Yes, though there was some difficulty with customs procedures. Earth bureaucracy remains puzzlingly inefficient." She noticed the scattered design papers. "You continued working on the prototype?" "Tried to. Couldn't focus much." He hesitated. "Zara, can I ask you something?" "Of course. Are you happy with our arrangement?" "With how things are between us?" Zara tilted her head, a gesture Sam now recognized as her thinking pose. "Our partnership functions efficiently. We both benefit from it. Is that not satisfactory?" "That's not really what I asked," Sam said, gathering his courage. "I'm asking if you're happy. Not just satisfied or content, but actually happy." "Happiness is not a concept Xylonians typically consider relevant to major life decisions," Zara replied carefully. "We value stability, growth, and practical outcomes." "But you're on Earth now," Sam pressed. You chose to come here because something about human culture appealed to you. Something different from Zolonian practicality. Zara was silent for a long moment, her silver eyes fixed on Sam with an intensity that made his heart race. Yes, she finally admitted. I came to Earth seeking something beyond practical arrangements. And yes, to answer your question directly, I believe I am experiencing what humans would call happiness in our current situation. Sam felt something loosen in his chest. Good. That's good. May I ask why you are concerned with this now? Zara inquired. Something Maria said tonight made me think. About us, about how things have changed since we first made our agreement. Changed how? Sam took a deep breath. When we started this, it was just business. A practical arrangement, like you said. But now, I care about you, Zara. Not just as a business partner or roommate or even friend. I think I might actually. He couldn't quite say the word, not yet. It felt too big, too significant. You have developed emotional attachment beyond our agreement, Zara stated, saving him from finishing the sentence. Yeah, that's one way to put it, Sam said with a nervous laugh. Is that a problem? It was not part of our original contract, Zara observed. But contracts can be amended when circumstances change. Sam blinked. Are you saying... I am saying that I too have experienced changes in my perception of our relationship. Zolonians do not express emotions as humans do. But that does not mean we do not experience them. She moved closer to him. All four arms relaxed at her sides in what Sam now recognized as a sign of openness, of trust. Since meeting you, I have found myself experiencing states that do not align with traditional Zolonian values of practicality and restraint, she continued. I find myself looking forward to your presence. I calculate probabilities of your reactions to events so I can share them with you. I consider your welfare in my decision-making process even when there is no practical benefit to myself. Sam's heart was pounding now. Zara, are you saying you have feelings for me? Romantic feelings? I believe that is the correct human terminology, yes. Her silver eyes seemed to glow more brightly, though I am still learning to identify and express such concepts. Without thinking, Sam reached out and took one of her hands in his. Her long purple fingers curled around his, warm and surprisingly soft. So what do we do now? He asked softly. This wasn't in the plan. Plans can be adapted when new data presents itself, Zara replied. That is good strategy in both Zolonian and human terms. Are you suggesting we, start dating? We're already married. Perhaps we could begin again, Zara suggested. Redefine our relationship based on current parameters rather than our initial agreement. Sam smiled. You mean like, hi, I'm Sam, I think you're amazing, would you like to go out sometime? The corners of Zara's eyes crinkled slightly, her version of a smile. Hello, Sam, I am Zara. I find your company preferable to all others. Yes, I would like to go out with you. Sam laughed, feeling lighter than he had in months. This has to be the strangest way anyone has ever started a relationship. We began with marriage and moved backward to dating, Zara agreed. Highly irregular, but potentially advantageous. We already know we are compatible in practical matters. Now we just need to figure out the rest, Sam said, still holding her hand. The emotional stuff, the relationship stuff. I am willing to learn, Zara said simply. With you.